Hello, everyone, and welcome to Afternoon Tea. It is Friday, March 6th, 2026. And of course, we've had some, let's say, huge breaking news this afternoon, which is that depending on which publication you read, either Netflix or Meghan have dumped each other. Yes, oh, yes, the spin factor is high here, in particular in relation to As Ever, because the partnership there between the two is apparently gone. And I can't say I'm surprised, but both Netflix and Meghan to save herself and her business, and Netflix just to make sure they don't totally throw her under the bus, are both kind of commenting as if this is like, oh, it's just a mutual decision. Guys, I really don't think it is. We'll get into all the interesting details today because there is definitely, let's say, shenaniganry afoot. And I think this is the greatest indication of all so far that As Ever has completely failed. It is a failed enterprise. But guys, Meghan pulling it back is good because Netflix was holding her back the whole time. This multi-billion-dollar company that funded most of her brand, they were just holding her back. So I think what has happened is that Netflix is just like, we can't deal with the crazy anymore. We can't deal with the delusion and unrealistic expectations and so many things. So Netflix is out. But I think there is so much more going on here. And of course, what does this mean for their future deals with Netflix is 100% an interesting question as well, guys. So again, we shall get into all of this. And of course, yesterday technically was the 4th anniversary of the first time RNN uploaded a video. So, we'll talk a little bit about what has gone on and all the great stuff about what we've covered on this channel, how many events, royals, these sorts of things. And in the lead up to the 5-year anniversary next year, which I realize is a long time away, we will be, I think I'm hopefully going to go through my archives and gather all the pictures and videos, do a big 5-year thing, but sharing a lot of the stuff I uncover with the members as well, guys, because there's actually a lot of stuff. I just don't always have the time to go through everything. And so there's a lot sitting out there. I just have to have the time. But oh my gosh, this As Ever news, it's a big story of the day, I got to say. And it's being picked up and covered by everybody. And for Meghan, it's looking increasingly grim. Actually, I would say for both Harry and Meghan, it's looking increasingly grim. I love people saying condolences to As Ever. Yes. I think it's definitely dying. I think this is its death throes. If you saw my thumbnail, guys, I was so proud of my thumbnail today because it's just a steaming pile of crap. If you might notice that it's from Jurassic Park, the first movie. And so I put like all the little As Ever bits and bobs in there, but this is not a good sign. This is not a good sign. I have every idea that is, if this had been successful, if this was doing well, Netflix would still want to be a part of it. Netflix would 100% want to be a part of it. And that it's not is a huge indication of how bad things are getting and how I think Meghan has wild and delusional expectations. She wants to take this global. And according to the reports, Netflix is like, no, you haven't even cornered the US market, let alone expanding into more markets. Are you crazy? And Meghan's like, yes, we're going to do this. And Netflix is like, no. And she's like, well, better off without Netflix, I say. It's like, Netflix is the only company in Hollywood actually doing well, guys. Every other studio is billions of dollars in debt, basically. Everything is failing out of Hollywood. I did a video about that yesterday. It was really interesting to pull in Kaylee Cuoco's quotes about how weird the industry has gotten and how difficult it is to find work, good work, these sorts of things. And so Netflix divesting itself of As Ever. And I will preface this as well from a business perspective. So what Netflix has been doing the last, let's say, couple of years, and why it invested in Meghan Markle's business in the first place, is that Netflix will reach a point of what they call market saturation, which means basically it has achieved all the customers it ever possibly could. There are no more customers to have. So you will have sort of this revolving door of, let's say, like people declining and then re-uploading and those sorts of things. Like at some point, any business reaches market saturation and it has to mature and evolve in different ways. And one of the ways Netflix can do that is by investing in a tangible brand like As Ever. Got the peppermint tea here. Invest in that. And then hopefully that it's not going to be as successful as Netflix. Of course not. But the idea is, and Netflix might have been experimenting, if we work with something like this and it does have, let's say, a general yearly revenue of, let's say, 20, 30, 50 million, then they have, let's say, the opportunity, they have the kind of ability to have this be an additional revenue stream. They can more capitalize off of it, merchandise, these sorts of things. Because actually what made George Lucas most of his money regarding Star Wars is actually the Star Wars merchandise. That's why the brand was so lucrative, is because of the merchandise attached to it. So all of this stuff comes together and actually creates a good dynamic for Netflix. So Netflix, I'm sure, was thinking, oh, we have this, these products, she'll have her show, like they can cross promote, is how it should have been done. When you have a show, you have a brand, whatever, they should cross promote. You know, I promote Ana Lucia. I don't really design the Ana Lucia stuff, but I help promote it. But I have a connection to it because obviously I do fashion and jewelry as well. So it makes sense. Royals, diamonds, like there's a connection there. I try to, if I go with something to promote, it's something that makes sense. Like that's why we do the trips as well, is because the trips are a way to actually physically see places related to royalty. It helps me. I hope it helps people on the trip get a better understanding. Like when we went to London, because they don't have a London trip anymore, but they did, and that was the first one we did. I took everybody to Kensington Palace and I showed them where Catherine and William live. And there was actually a group of us that ran behind the palace because there was a royal helicopter landing and somebody got off of it. We could never see who it was, but we all ran down there. I did see Princess Eugenie like a day or two before she gave birth. And so we were able to like do those sorts of things because it gives you tangible. You could see where St. Paul's Cathedral is, where Westminster Abbey is, all these sorts of places that can help you kind of get a physical idea of the space. That's what I enjoy. That it really helps me to go. And so I know, especially in Denmark, because I've been to Denmark quite a bit, I'm very familiar with where Amalienborg is, Christianborg, Rosenborg. Yes, lots of Borgs. Borgs mean castle. And so I'm very familiar with those. And so it makes sense. And I would love to bring people to Copenhagen. It's just very expensive. But like, that's how we have designed these trips. And so Netflix connecting with As Ever, in theory, guys, in theory, makes sense. I know where they were going with this. I know the idea they had, how they wanted to do this and stuff like that. But as it turns out, Meghan Markle is just really crappy at her job. That's the bare bones basic I can say. She's crappy at this. And so they had a mess of a brand from the jump. Don't forget, we had American Riviera Orchard in March of 2024. We had strawberry jam being sent. Then a couple of biscuits in June to a friend, Nacho. He posted it on Instagram. Then silence. And then all of a sudden in like January, February, we saw that this As Ever website was being built off the American Riviera Orchard website. And then we got to this next little bit and she launched the brand and she tried to explain, which I actually do. We should actually watch this really quick just as a reminder, because I think it actually might be somewhat a good, let's say, interesting kind of retrospective to have. I don't know why I tend to roll my R's. I really can't roll my R's. About how excited Meghan was about this. And this was going to be so good, guys. This was going to be so good. So what happened? Let's go ahead and take a watch here real quick. When she sat in the grass. Okay.
Cat's out of the bag.
So I still don't understand why she's sitting in the dirt in a white shirt and jeans. I don't get it. Anyways,
I'm shocked we've kept this a secret for so long. In
she hasn't kept it a secret. We knew the brand was coming, Meghan.
2 weeks, my show's coming out, which I'm so excited for. And also my business, which I think there's been a lot of curiosity about.
She honestly looks, and I hate to say this way because I know people twist it, but she honestly looks, I mean, she's so giddy, but she's also feels a little drunk talking about this. Maybe a smidge, maybe like a little bit tipsy. Like
Last year, I had thought, you know what, American Riviera, that sounds like such a great name. It's my neighborhood. It's a nickname for Santa.
Okay, it's also not a nickname for Santa Barbara. Nobody really calls it that. And it was American Riviera Orchard, not American Riviera.
Barbara, but it limited me to things that were just manufactured and grown in this area. Then,
which I don't think is bad. And all the weird cuts there. Guys, this video is so weird.
Netflix came on not just as my partner in the show, but as my partner in my business, which was
She's very excited about that, guys.
huge. So I thought about it, and I've been waiting for a moment to share a name that I had secured in 2022.
So there we go. She was so excited, guys, about Netflix being her partner. And she has said endlessly in interviews, Netflix is my partner. How great is it that Netflix is my partner? This is so wonderful. Netflix is my partner. Not anymore. Netflix is, I would argue, in my personal opinion, and I got to say this for legal reasons, but I think Netflix wanted to divest itself of As Ever. And what I think has happened here is that this actually happened probably in January after the first of the year. And I think Netflix got out as soon as it recouped its investment. So I'm not even sure, probably, guys, to be honest, if Meghan has made really any money from this venture so far. I would not be surprised at all if Meghan has made very little money from As Ever, because all the money she had to, like, because Netflix, I think, is the one who came in and actually funded most of the initial inventory, maybe even the holiday inventory. So once they've recouped their investment, they're like, we're done, we're out. And she has a ton of inventory that she can't move. And she's got to pay warehouse space and these sorts of things. And the products are crappy. They're not very good. So let's look at The Sun was the one who broke this. As a reminder, The Sun is a good publication. Obviously, I gave them a bit of flack with this week for like going with a ludicrous report that Harry and Meghan were going to get Royal Lodge. Although, funnily enough, Matt Wilkinson, who wrote this article, by the way, was like, yeah, no, that's not right. He agreed with me. And so I was like, okie dokie, what's going on? Somebody else did that from their office. But as a reminder, The Sun, yes, it is. Let's see. Sorry, I'm trying to get rid of this little video thing. The Sun is, of course, a bit of a gossip rag. Doesn't mean necessarily everything is good, but Matt Wilkinson is the royal editor. He goes and sees royal events and these sorts of things. So this is good. So he said, and Meghan and Netflix have both confirmed this, by the way, as well. So it says Meghan Markle has split from Netflix and is taking complete control of her jam empire as ever. So I've said this before, but there is no empire. There are warehouses filled with dried out flowers of her flower sprinkles and quickly expiring spread. There is no empire here. There is no empire. She has no market capital. She has nothing. She has nothing. And you guys, she can't even sell this brand because the brand is so bad. So here's the thing. People keep saying, oh, she's going to sell it. She's going to sell it. She can't actually sell it. No investor worth its salt would actually like take and buy this brand except for pennies, because the only thing selling it is Meghan, and not because of really anything else. It's not because the products are good, not because they're making a big impact or anything like that. It's Meghan Markle's a reason this brand is selling. And so without her, there is nothing. There's nothing to this brand. None of the products are interesting or gaining attention or any sort of thing. There's just no way. And we'll see and hear a couple things where I think definitely the numbers and stuff are screwy. But I find that the mainstream publications are generally a little bit cautious on actually stating kind of the obvious, which is that this brand is failing, probably because of a lot of reasons. But again, let's continue. It says the 350 billion streaming giant. So $350 billion is what Netflix is worth. They can pour millions of dollars into this company if they wanted to, if they thought it was doing good. Guys, if Netflix really thought this was a gangbuster idea, a gangbuster company, they would not be divesting this asset. They're throwing it away because it's bad. So, became a partner and invested in As Ever when it launched 12 months ago to sell the likes of jam, rose wine, and flour sprinkles. Okay, you guys know how I complain about the Oxford comma that Meghan puts in everything. You can see here, he doesn't use the Oxford comma because it's not Associated Press style. Like press newspapers and those sorts of things, they don't include the Oxford comma. It's just a stylistic reason, but yeah, just wanting to point that out. But insiders say Montecito-based Meghan is relieved to be able to go it alone after fearing As Ever was being held back by cautious Netflix. Okay, guys. Okay. We gotta be clear here. If Netflix is cautious, I think that's code for they saw her bat crap crazy ideas. And they're like, we can't do this. We like, this is not going to work. And so what Netflix did is it would go, she wants to go global. They're like, no, you have not secured the US market. So here's guys how businesses work, because you can go global, but there's so many complications, red tape, and these sorts of things. And the biggest market in the world is the United States. There is no bigger market than the United States of America. We are mass consumers. We consume products to the nth degree. There is no bigger market in the world than the United States of America. China maybe is a close second, but when it comes to especially more high value products like this, it's the freaking United States of America. So anyways, this thing that she thinks Netflix, a $350 billion media empire, the only empire in Hollywood right now that is successful is Netflix. It's the only one successful. And you're telling me they're holding you back? No, they're holding you back from your own stupidity. That is what Netflix was doing. They weren't holding you back because they were like trying to constrain you, or they didn't think you could be successful or something like that. No. They were trying to probably put sense into your brain and you were ignoring them. Like, how in the world did Netflix become a multi-billion-dollar global media empire? By being smart. You can kind of, say, well, when it comes to Harry and Meghan, oh, that was a bad investment. It actually wasn't in a way, because Netflix wanted its royal pound of flesh and they achieved that with Harry and Meghan. But beyond that, everything else has completely and utterly tanked and flopped. And so Netflix got what it wanted, but it probably wanted more. It just wasn't going to squeeze more out of it. And I firmly believe this is an indication overall that Netflix is starting to actually take steps back from them, which is really bad for Harry and Meghan. Guys, there is one game in town right now in Hollywood, and that is Netflix. So if you are not aware, Disney is billions of dollars in debt. They have made a lot of bad decisions. And then we also have Paramount, which is billions of dollars in debt, and Warner Brothers, which is billions of dollars in debt. Now, Netflix was going to purchase Warner Brothers, but that deal has fallen through. Now, Paramount is going to purchase Warner Brothers. So the two, as some of the last big studios, are being gobbled up together, technically by tech guys, not really entertainment people, tech guys. So the whole Hollywood industry and ecosystem is collapsing in on itself. There aren't a lot of productions in Hollywood anymore. Everything's going overseas. Most Hollywood productions tend to tank in the ratings. I mean, I watch a lot of the guys, like Nerdrotic or Critical Drinker or whatever, and they're talking about, like Star Trek, what is it? Not First Class, Star Trek something. I can't even remember. And I've heard them talking about it for a long time. But Paramount wasted like $200 million on a show that can't even get, I would argue, even 500,000 viewers. I think it's much less than that. So Hollywood has been making a series of very stupid decisions over the years, just throwing millions and millions, like hundreds of millions of dollars on sort of failed projects. And so when it comes to money, the only company that has a positive cash flow that is really, really solid in the market right now, I think has completely and utterly everything that is I'm looking at the chat a little bit. So everything that is going well for Hollywood is at the feet of Netflix. Netflix is king of the mountain. And so if Netflix doesn't want to be partnered with you, if Netflix is not going to buy your stuff, you are screwed, because there's not that much money right now. And I think especially with the merger between Warner Brothers and Paramount, a lot of things will be put sort of on ice, and they'll be waiting to see kind of as they merge. And the merge is not 100% like going forwards, guys. The merge is not 100% going forward yet. Like there's still little things to kind of go through. But when they merge, there will be redundancies. There'll be, fewer productions going to theaters and fewer shows and these sorts of things. And so everything will contract even more. And so if Netflix doesn't want to mess with you, it's not a good sign. And Meghan going it alone, honey, no offense to Meghan, but she has had endless numbers of failures at this point. And those have been mostly led by Meghan. Meghan doesn't know what she's doing. And I think the caution was Netflix is trying to shove reality into her brain, and she rejects it. That's what I think is happening. Netflix is like, hey, wait a second. Like, you want to go into foreign markets? Like, that's fine, but let's secure this market, because what you want to do first is make sure your first market is on very solid footing before expanding. If you expand too quickly, you can risk damaging your business overall. So you want to keep things constrained and contained, and make sure you have a positive workflow going, a positive sell rate, these sorts of things, and that you're moving product well. Because I think what's happening is Meghan, again, overexpanded. I think her holiday collection, I think she wildly overinvested in the number of products that she had on site. And so she has a massive amount in a warehouse right now, and she needs to move it. So her solution is let's go to foreign markets. And Netflix is like, no, like we need to figure out how to move this inventory first before going, well, if we come out to this section, like that'll fix the problem. The solution is never to, like, you have to fix the problem at its bare bones basic before expanding. If you're thinking that expanding is going to fix your problem, it's just going to exacerbate it. It's just going to make it worse. That problem is just going to get worse and worse and worse and worse. And Meghan is not particularly good at business. We've seen this. And we have seen the weirdness of As Ever since the beginning of the year with the, with the bookmark. That was weird. And then we're bundling things, which we haven't really done before. And that's weird. It just kind of continues to get weirder and weirder. And it's very unclear where the brand is going, because we were told there were going to be seasonal launches. But then we had a launch for Valentine's Day. And then we had, you're going to get 3 strawberry spreads. You can buy this 3 strawberry spread pack, which actually reminds me, it's like, are they still doing that or not? Because that was weird. So the brand now, I think, in addition, they still have the strawberry and raspberry trio. I think what I also see that's concerning is just wild inconsistency and just a lack of clarity of what this brand is, how it's going to function in the marketplace, and these sorts of things. And for consumers, that definitely turns them off. And I think Netflix was trying to help her understand those things. And, you just can't deal with crazy forever. And they're just like, she's going to fall flat on her face. Just let her do it. Because at this point, it's not worth our effort to sit here in an office and try to explain basic marketing to her, because she's too dense, too arrogant, too whatever, to actually understand how marketing works. So it's like putting a plate with 5 spoons on it with different spreads when you actually only have 3 spreads to sell is idiotic. That's just dumb. Netflix would never do that. It's not that dumb. I mean, a lot of dumb decisions happen from time to time, but I think they genuinely probably hoped that this might be a much better success. That they're giving up after a year tells you everything. Like, they're not even thinking, well, let's give it longer, maybe it'll help. what have you. No. They're done. They're like, we can't deal with this freak show anymore. We can't deal with this freak show anymore. It's a waste of our time, energy, effort, all these sorts of things. And it's not worth it. So it says that it comes months after Netflix axed her lifestyle show with Love Meghan after scathing reviews. The as ever split was mutual, with the former working royal remains on good terms with Netflix Supremo Ted Sarandos, it is said. So I want to be clear here as well. If you listen to Hollywood people talk about each other, they always pretty much talk each other up. They never really say anything negative about them. Are they really friends though? No, I don't think so. I think Ted Sarandos is like, well, I'll be nice to them. I'll just continue to be nice to them. Harry and Meghan were like, well, we'll continue to be nice to Ted because Ted has the money. Ted's the sugar daddy. They need the sugar daddy's money maybe at some point. And so everybody will keep kind of cordial relationships, but do I think they're really friends? No. And this, I think, goes to what I've always said when it comes to Meghan and Ted Sarandos, because some people said, well, he's like enamored with her and whatever. And I'm like, he might be a little bit, but he's a business guy at the end of the day. Business wins supreme after some point. Business does. And he might have a moment where he's like really into things, but then he looks at the numbers and he hears from people and Netflix wants to go in a different direction. And he's like, yeah, this is not worth our time. Meghan and Harry still have a first look deal with the streaming giant, which I don't think is on very good terms. So a source said Meghan is still on good terms with the Netflix team and close personal friends with Ted. So hasn't wanted to upset him, but is very happy to have full control over the company. It's a good time for Meghan to have complete control, given recent successes. Netflix has been a good partner, but she's wanted to go global with the brand for some time, but has been held back by the more cautious Netflix team. Yes, because okay, and here's the thing as well, guys. Netflix is an international company. It is very, very much a company that has its tentacles in multiple international markets. So they are well aware of the international markets. And so if they wanted to go global, I mean, they have an easy conduit to do so. Like, it's there, it's already set up, it's already working, it's already functioning. Like Netflix, it would take them nothing to get as ever into foreign markets. So you got to wonder again, why haven't they? They haven't because it's not worth it. They don't think it's worth it to go there. There are already enough problems without trying to expand into foreign markets, because that means moving products. That means potential tariff issues. That means potential international crisis issues and these sorts of things. Like, there's been a lot of, tariff style wars and these sorts of things. And so everything about this company is going global immensely increases your complexities. Like if it was a tech thing, it'd be much easier, but we're talking about not only a tangible item. Like this is Lisa Eldridge lipstick. This is actually, you can actually see it's almost gone. Hold on. I got to show this. Guys, it's literally almost down to like, this is what I put on every time before I film a video is this. It's called Kitten Mischief. Like it's almost done. So I need to order more of this, but I like the color. And so this little guy, she's from the UK. So for her to get into US markets, she has to make sure her product is sellable in US markets. There are certain things she has to and hoops she has to jump through to ensure that. And my understanding from how she does things is that she has a warehouse. I think when it comes, I think it's from Ohio. So she has a warehouse in Ohio with her products. And so her products are either manufactured or already like they're manufactured somewhere else and shipped into the United States to be stored at a warehouse to ship as needed from that warehouse. Does that mean there is a ton of this in stock? No. I think they stock this stuff correctly. But you have Meghan. So what is she going to do? Especially if she has a ton of stuff in inventory that she can't sell, which we have seen confirmed that yes, she has a lot of things in inventory she can't sell. That means that she has to figure out how the heck to get these products from here to wherever she's going to sell them. So it seems like Australia, Canada, UK are her markets. So she has to move these products there, set up another warehouse, and set up a whole different fulfillment team and start shipping them from there. That's an expense, a lot of expense, and a lot of risk. especially if the brand isn't stable in the United States. And I firmly believe it's not stable here. And I think that was Netflix's concern. It's like, you're not stable here. But Megan's like, well, if I can just expand, then we can sell. And they're like, no, that's not how this works. That's not how this works. And so I think most of her stuff will honestly end up being super duper duper clearanced somewhere at some point, because literally she'll have to divest of all her products because they're going to expire at some point. And perishable goods, like, again, this would actually, the lipstick would have some kind of special, let's say, considerations because it is lipstick. It does expire and these sorts of things. But, you know, something like this Smyson notebook, this won't expire. So you don't have to worry about it. This can always be in a stock somewhere. So again, depending on your products, there is a reason why they were like trying to contain her, because they're like, we have to be real about this. We have to be living in reality, not fantasy. And I think Meghan lives in a heck of a lot of fantasy. And Netflix is like, we can't do this forever. And so she might be still on technically good terms, but I think this good terms is always predicated on the idea that Harry and Meghan, something happens with the royal family, they return or they recommit or whatever, and the divorce. Netflix is keeping them on the hook for the divorce, potentially, or for a royal family situation. And the only thing I think Harry and Meghan can sell at this point that would make them money with Netflix is sadly a documentary on Diana, and Harry and Meghan may push that button if they can't make money. Because I don't think As Ever is really making him all that money, especially if Meghan had to, which I imagine is true, had to basically wait until all of the Netflix money was returned to them. And so, like, if you've watched Shark Tank or anything like that, there are points where it's like, you're not making any money until you are able to give money back to the initial investors, and then you can start making money in capital. Until that point, you're not. And if the overhead on these products is not good, she may not be making a ton of money on this yet. And again, expanding to global markets is probably not going to, like, that she probably wanted to do this from the beginning, which is really dumb. Really dumb. Again, United States is the #1 market in the world. Everybody wants to sell here. If you can't control this market, if you don't have a good working relationship in this market, it is suicide to go to a different market. I realize I said that, and YouTube sometimes gets weird about that word, but I mean business-wise. Netflix provided backroom staff and development teams when As Ever was unveiled in March in 2025, which are now being organized by Meghan, which again, I think is why we see this. So we see a croissant, mornings made sweeter with raspberry spread, although raspberry, I believe, is tart and strawberry is supposed to be sweet. So should this not be strawberry? And this confusing image. So yeah, you can definitely see the dip. Like all these, none of this is particularly good. I mean, again, I still don't even know what the heck any of this was supposed to say. But it looks like to me, you can see this is the last of December. After this, you can just tell there's been a huge change in how the pictures are and everything. Like this, at least, I think this is a little bit ridiculous, but you can at least see this was well set up and stuff. I mean, this is that's actually a video, but anyways, there are a couple of things that never, and I'm sure they were trying to get her to do more videos and stuff, and she just refused to do them. And oh my gosh, guys. Oh, do you guys see that? 879,000. So far, guys, she has lost 6,000 followers with As Ever on Instagram. 6,000. I think that's going to go down more and more and more. More and more and more. So, not good. As Ever products were previously only available in the US, but there are now plans for the jam, which is not jam and spread, and flour sprinkles to be sold globally. Unveiling As Ever last year, Meghan said the Netflix came on not just as a partner of my show, but as a partner in my business, which was huge. We watched that video. But last year it was claimed it was struggling to cope with demand and sales figures after a glitch in the website. So I don't think struggling to cope with demand usually means that you have less product and you have more demand for it. What we've seen with the sales figure glitch is that she is struggling to move product, not cope with demand, move product. And the claim that a source close to Meghan claims she had actually sold up to 870,000 jars of jam and they were flying off the shelves, that again is completely wrong. That's I honestly believe, guys, that is 100% wrong. Just my personal opinion. I don't think things were flying off the shelves. Like, she could only move 200 products in a day, which is not, let's say, bad, but not great either, given the quantity of inventory she had on hand. That might have been strong, and I'm sure we've seen it ebb and flow, but all these bundlings and everything she's doing is a reflection of the fact that things aren't moving, so she thinks bundling is helpful. Like, it's so dumb. It's so bad. So As Ever does not release sales figures, but it's understood stock continues to sell out. But see, what we've seen though, when it comes to As Ever, so let's share this tab instead. And I actually saw an ad on Instagram today going, well, we've sold out of the bookmark. And it's like, no, you haven't. That's a lie. There was an ad from As Ever going, we've sold out of the bookmark, but you can still get it in a bundle. So she hasn't sold out. None of these have sold out yet. They're still available. And so I've said before, and I'll say it again, she has not sold out. My opinion is that she is trying to move these unpopular pieces of inventory by pairing them with something she believes might be popular. And so she's deliberately bundling them together. And I think something that I find a bit skeevy from a business perspective, like she's literally trying to suck more money out of people by doing things this way. And she deliberately understocked the bookmark so that she could bundle it with things and attempt to move other product, but also not offering a discount. I don't think bundles are necessarily a bad way to go, but she refuses to discount any of it. She refuses, except for these sets down here. She refuses to discount pieces. And I think that is killing her business. If you're going to bundle, you have to discount. You can't just put all the stuff there and make it all retail, except for the one thing you can't get. It's just such skeevy business practices. It's just bad. So its best sellers include the $15 flower sprinkles, the $15 fruit spreads, teas, and candles. So I don't know if I would argue they're best sellers because all of them are still in stock and nothing has sold out except for the spreads at the beginning, the flower sprinkles at the beginning. And again, I think she wildly understocked the inventory to get those sellouts because the sellout is more important to Meghan than having the stable business. She wants the headline of selling out. It says for the past year, products have only been available online in the USA, but it's expected to expand to Australia, New Zealand, and Britain. Sorry, I said Canada. I guess Australia and New Zealand. Like, does she even have a big fan base in Australia and New Zealand? Like, she doesn't have her fan base is so minuscule small compared to her footprint. Like, does she really think that's going to help her? I just don't understand. So it says the jam is technically a fruit spread as it uses less sugar and more fruit, but some food critics say it is runny and too sweet. And here we get the confirmation. A spokesman for Meghan said, As Ever is grateful for Netflix's partnership through launch and our first year. We have experienced meaningful and rapid growth, and As Ever is now ready to stand on its own. We have an exciting year ahead and can't wait to share more. This again feels like, they're living in the land of delusion with each other. It's, they have to put it this way. We're so grateful. Well, then why doesn't Netflix still want to partner with you? Like, the idea that you think you can do better without them. There are people who can. Not saying that every time somebody jumps ship that it reflects badness, you could say, but Netflix is ready to be done with this freak show, I think. Spokesman for Netflix said, Meghan's passion for elevating everyday moments in beautiful yet simple ways inspired the creation of As Ever brand, and we are glad to have played a role in bringing that vision to life and then letting it go. Because they know this is all BS. Guys, this is all BS. This is all PR BS. I don't think anybody at Netflix really believes a word of that. And then it goes on to say, as it was always intended, Meghan will continue growing the brand and take it to its next chapter independently. And we look forward to celebrating how she continues to bring joy to households around the world. Sure. Sure. Oh my gosh. Harry and Meghan signed a first look deal last year. Their movie Cookie Queens, which premiered at Sundance, was not picked up by Netflix, though. And although the Sussexes bought the rights to Meet Me at the Lake, that's actually not true. Netflix bought it for them 2.5 years ago. The movie still remains in development. Don't think it'll ever see the light of day. But we have also an interesting little tidbit here from page 6, which claims that the reason it dropped is that her show did not go on, so it did not make sense to continue the partnership, an industry insider told page 6 exclusively. And so what I think this means is that Netflix, 100%, guys, there is no more With Love Meghan coming. With Love Meghan is dead, which we figured, but there was always the possibility of maybe like one-offs and these sorts of things. No, it's dead. Not coming back. So if you wanted more of the lovely inaneness of With Love Meghan, you're going to be out of luck, man. It's gone. It's gone. So Netflix is largely cutting ties, I think. So obviously, what does this all mean? Well, definitely that Netflix has tried and attempted, but they're like, oh, we're kind of sort of done. We're ready to move on to other things. And this is an experiment that we tried and just didn't work. It just did not work. And if As Ever was doing great, and yes, maybe Meghan always meant to take it independent at some point. I think Netflix would have been more interested in keeping a stake, keeping With Love Meghan going, these sorts of things, if it was making money. I don't think this business is making money. I think it's become a drain. I think Netflix is looking at Meghan Markle's ideas to expand and going, oh, heck to the no. Like, you're still struggling here in the States. Like, why do you think Britain is going to fix the problem here? She has a very small fan base. The only people buying her products are her quote unquote fans and those who want to taste test things to kind of make fun of them on YouTube or TikTok or something. I don't think if you expand to foreign markets, I don't think that fixes the current inventory problems. And I don't think it'll fix future inventory problems if she overexpands again. Because the thing with Meghan is that she doesn't ever learn the lessons. And the lesson here to learn is that you overexpanded too quickly. You played games in the market and you end up with a mess, I think. And it's important to note as well, just curious and checking on something today, guys. I haven't seen it, but I have gotten, guys, so many As Ever emails recently. It's insane. Like the constant email barrage of stuff. Oh my gosh, guys, we did get another one, 301 today, just after I started the live stream. You can't make this stuff up. Okay, so hold on. Let me see how many. So this is our second email this month. She also did a duplicate email on March 1st and February 28th. She did 9 emails in February, and I would almost argue 10 because on the 1st of March I knew she would do another email. And it's just so like she doesn't know what she's doing. So here, hold on, guys. Let me show you the latest As Ever email. Here we go. 3 mood-raising daily rituals. Start with the following steps to brighten any day. Embrace a loved one. Begin the morning by sharing a moment with someone dear to you. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, Meghan, honey, sweetie, baby. Like, I think most people, if they, let's say, don't live alone and embrace a loved one in the morning, they will do that. But some people have like big people jobs or, are single or whatever. And so maybe they don't have time to hug a loved one in the morning. But I feel like this is just such basic stuff. She is genuinely bad at this. She is very, very bad at this. Man. Oh, and then it says here, hold on, just 1 second. There you go. It says, take a moment for yourself, light a candle, or linger with a chapter of a good book before the day again begins. Mark your place for later with the hold that thought leather bookmark, which you can't buy by itself. You have to spend at least $48 and get 2 tea canisters in order to get the stupid bookmark. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. This is so bad. This is so bad. Cause it's like, it's, you can just tell Meghan is doing this because it's really too on the nose. Honestly, light a candle and put it, you mean light a candle, Meghan, and put it under a shelf so the candle can burn the shelf and the wall and burn your house down? That sounds about right. We have another old picture. And why isn't she promoting her stupid candles? Hold on. I want to see where this link goes. Hold on a second. Oh my gosh. Okay. So if you click on the link, ladies and gentlemen, it goes to the pause and pour set. Hold on. I just think this is, again, good for business people to know. So she's talking about lighting a candle and using a bookmark, and she's taking you to the bundle that does not have a candle. Like, is she just this dumb? I think she must be. I don't get it. I do not get it. Like, why? You're asking people to buy this dumb bookmark. That whole phrase was about the bookmark, and asking people to buy it for $48 if they want the bookmark because they can't get the bookmark without the tea canisters. And you can't even give them a good scenario in which you have a tea canister. I can't, like, this level of dumb is just, I have a hard time with it. I'm not going to lie. I have a hard time with it. I should be better. But this woman lives in a $16 million mansion, had Netflix freaking as an investor. And this is the crap copy she comes up with by herself. She really is not good at this. All right. And then we go down to share something sweet. Sprinkle flour sprinkles. You shouldn't do that for like, don't. Oh, that makes my brain hurt. You don't do sprinkle flour sprinkles. You would put something else. I don't know what the other word is. That is what your thesaurus is for. And I have used thesaurus in creating copy to figure out a different word to say, but you don't do sprinkle flour sprinkles. That's like a copy no-no. Over blueberry pancakes, or add a spoonful of strawberry spread and cream to warm golden toast. And this is supposed to be 3 mood-boosting daily rituals. Okay, yeah, Meghan, I know why you're failing pretty badly here. Netflix does not want to be involved in this. I'm sorry. Netflix doesn't want to be involved in it. It's so bad. But it's kind of funny. She timed it to send right as my live stream began. Does she know or hear? She also needs to update the copyright to say 2026. Just saying. So that's the merchant. Service inquiries. Click to unsubscribe from these promotional emails. Well, if I get more crap like this, I might have to. But it is entertaining as what not to do when you are sending an email. And what is she looking down at? She should be embracing a loved one. So she's, guys, doing something that has literally nothing to do with what she's actually attempting to share in her directions down here. She is not reading. Like, if I was going to do this copy, If I was going to do this copy for this email, I would want her sitting in a chair reading a book, sipping her tea with a candle lit nearby. That's like cozy, wrapped up in a blanket, in the morning light. Like that's how you sell this. That's how you sell these through like these 3 mood boosting rituals. She's not doing any of them in the picture. She's showing you a completely disconnected picture. It's just, yeah. It's bad. This is like bad. I mean, because this is Ocean Cat said easy marketing 101. Yeah, this is she's not doing no wonder Netflix is out. You can just see it. Like this is why they're out. They're like, we can't do this anymore. We can't deal with the crazy anymore. It's like we're done. We're done. Sayonara, Meghan. Like enjoy this failing company. Well, oh sorry, I knocked the mic. It's like we'll just watch it from afar. They're giving her the princess wave as the ship goes down. Like they're like, yeah. I'll show you guys here real quick here. Hold on. Because I did, I think, screenshot it. Yeah, I did. Ooh, she left comments on the ad, guys. I missed that the first time. Ooh, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, if you come across an as ever ad, she forgot to click the comments off. Sorry. Just find that a little funny. So here is the ad I came across today, the Pause and Pour set. It says, our sold out Hold That Thought leather bookmark is now available in a limited edition bundle with our fan favorite herbal teas. So again, and I don't, for any book lover out here, guys, sorry, I'm just trying to see if I can come up with another as ever ad on my Instagram. But because I want to see if the comments are still open. But guys, because you can see right here, guys, 8 comments. 8 comments are right there. Oh, and it says only followed by 866,000 others. That's interesting. So yeah, what are the comments? So I can't see the comments. So this was a screenshot I took. I didn't even consider the fact that the comments would be on. But guys, the comments are on, or at least they didn't think about it. So if they change it to the comments off, we know again that they listen to RNN. But I feel like again, this is like, sorry, let me go back to my other point was Meghan Markle's imagery for the teas and stuff is disturbing because I don't know, guys, again, who would do this. And I don't know if it's still available. No, it's not. But I would never put a full cup of tea like that on a book. Now, I will tell you guys right now, Miss Pippa, as a puppy, I was reading a book in the tub. Yes, I like to read in the tub. So I had been reading a book about the Romanovs. And so I had put the book down in the bathroom. And when I'm getting ready in the morning, this was when she was a puppy, so 9 years ago now, I would keep her in the bathroom with me. And so the book is on the bathroom floor. And one day she decides to pee on top of my book. Like literally little doggy puddle on top of my book. And so I was like, well, okay. I had to throw the book away because I didn't know what else to do with it. Because it's like my dog literally peed on the book. So it's like I can't keep it. But yeah, it was called The Romanovs. It's by a guy who has 3 names. It's a light blue cover, very pretty, like an intricate, but no pictures of somebody on it. So it goes through all the Romanovs and kind of gives an overview of each of them. So I liked the book. Couldn't finish it because Pippa peed on it. So I had to throw that away, and that hurt my heart. I don't want to throw things away, guys. Like especially books. I will sell books. I will donate books. I do not believe in throwing away books. And I had to throw away that book because it's like it just felt unsanitary. I mean, I guess I could have pulled the cover off. It was a hardback, and I guess I could have used like the pages for something else. I don't know, but I just wasn't thinking about it that day. Yeah, Lynn Gideon says, so Miss Pippa was not a fan, huh? Yeah, she did not like me reading the Romanovs. She didn't like the Russians, man. Sir Squirrelot says Miss Pippa is anti-monarchist. Yes, apparently. So yeah, she was just like, no, she's like, didn't want me. It was just so weird. We were in the morning and she just did it. And I was like, yeah. So yeah, this is Simon Sebag Montefiore. Yeah, that is the author of the book. So anyways, she decided that was a good place to piddle. So I did have to throw that away, but I just can't imagine. And she has this video, and I can't remember if I got actual video of it or not. I may have to track down somebody else who's gotten some. But like I think I did screenshots, and everything about that was like so wrong. Sorry, I'm trying to look for it. Cause like the candles were right by the wall and there was a shelf above it. So it looked like there was about an inch clearance between the candle flame and the shelf, which like to me is like fire. And I grew up in California, guys. Like fire was a big deal. When I moved other places and people like start brush fires quite a bit, or like they burn debris, like if they're excavating or whatever, they'll burn debris. Like that was very weird for me outside of the California context, because fire in California meant danger. Like it was very natural and felt normal somewhat to see a literal fire burning on the hill as you drive by. That was relatively normal. And so, but like you never got away, like, I mean, I'm much better, but like I've never totally gotten away from that fire fear, because that was just very prevalent. And you remember those type of things. Actually, technically, guys, we had moved out of the house by that point, but our old house in California actually burned to the ground. So like fire to me is a very real, tangible threat. And so to see these like wicks above the shelf, I'm like, you're going to start a fire in California. Everything's dry. Everything's going to burn. Like, what are you doing? And then she has the teacup with the tea in the middle of the book, holding the book open, basically. And then she comes over and like takes honey and puts it in the teacup. And I'm like, I got honey in my book, this pages would stick together. So I'll take this for example. Sorry, we'll just remove this. So I did read this, highly recommend, Precious, about like kind of the history of gemstones and these sorts of things. So like she's sitting with her like teacup, right in the middle here. And then she pulls the teacup to the edge. I'll give her that. But then they're like putting honey in the tea. And I'm like, it's in the middle of the book. You're gonna ruin the book. Like, why would you ruin the book? So yeah. So I was like, just going crazy with that. And so to me, it's just everything about it was wrong. And I am not surprised at all that Netflix is like, we're done with this freak show. We're done with this. We don't believe in it. We're kind of moving in a different direction. I think that's 100% where things are going. And I think Netflix is largely probably done with Harry and Meghan. If they do produce something, they're like, okay, but Netflix is kind of, I think Netflix would have given it maybe, because a year seems like such a short time to be quote unquote partners and like be so excited and then done. I feel like there is a serious move away from Harry and Meghan, and that's bad for Harry and Meghan because, like I said earlier, Netflix, guys, is the only name in the game when it comes to the entertainment industry right now. I mean, you have a lot of independent media with podcasts and stuff, but there was an interesting Hollywood Reporter article where it talked about like the leading industries. And one of them was like the biggest growing industries in Hollywood right now are independent media. That's where things are growing. She doesn't have a good as ever system at this point. And she needs to come up with something better for your important points in the morning. She needs to come up with something better than hug a loved one, get something sweet. And what was the other one? I can't even remember. Like they were just so dumb and lame. If you're going to do something like this, you have to make it better than what it's out there, because there's so much out there that's competing with you. So much that's already being done so much better. And it just looks like she doesn't really care. She doesn't really know what she's doing. And she thinks she's intelligent here, and she's just not. She's just not I just don't think she's smart in this area, and not smart enough to hire people who are smarter than her to make her successful. That's sometimes what it means to be in business, is hiring people who are better than you. Like, if I could right now hire the best editor in the world, I would. I would hire the best editor in the world and go, "Here's all my stuff." But I don't have that right now, but would I hire an editor at some point in the future? I hope so. I hope that's a possibility, because hiring an editor would be very, very helpful, because they would be able to do the things that I cannot do. You hire people who make up for your deficiencies. And if you have a good team, you can bounce ideas off them. You can use them to kind of iron sharpens iron type of situation. But Meghan, I think, truly does believe she knows what's best. She knows how this brand is going to succeed and thrive. And I think by the end of this year, I think it'll be flat on its face. I think As Ever will be an absolute mess of a brand that's failing on multiple levels, and Meghan will have to close shop. That's going to be my prediction. Because before, Netflix was floating the money. With Netflix money's gone, I just don't think there's any future for As Ever, unless she comes up finally with a decent product, which I just don't foresee right now. I don't foresee Meghan coming up with like a super big like, she just doesn't have the capacity for it. She thinks she's brilliant. She's just not. And I think sometimes the genius comes from understanding that you're not the genius, you're not the smartest person in the room. There's other people who are better than you, and you hire and cultivate them to help you. And Meghan just does not know how to do that. I think if she had worked with Netflix longer, maybe she would have learned something. But I think Netflix is like, As Ever, better left to the trash heap. It wasn't a good investment. It is what it is. But yeah, I don't see a bright future, especially with I want to say petting your dog might be better. It's like, it just feels like so basic to go hug a loved one, hug a loved one. And then you got to think too, like, what are the about people who don't have a loved one in the home for whatever reason? They're a young adult living on their own, what have you. And it's like, well, what does that mean for them? Like, they don't have somebody to hug first thing in the morning. I feel like that's kind of, I feel like that's feels really rude or something. I don't know. I feel like it kind of puts exclusive language on it, which you don't want. You want something that everybody can universally do. So if it's not like either hug a loved one, pet your animal, or spend time, reading a certain thing or something. But anyways, that's just my thought there. But yeah, it's gonna fail. It's 100% going to flatline and fail, in my opinion. In my opinion, I don't give it much past this year. Again, unless Meghan comes up with an actual decent product. But I don't have high hopes. This year so far, from just a business perspective, has been an absolute mess. And I don't understand what we're going for here. So Lauren asks, and this is a quick question to answer, what are your degrees in? They're both in history. I have a bachelor's and master's in history, but most of my knowledge came from work, because one of the things with history is you write a lot. And so that's applicable, because not everybody can be a history professor or a history teacher, or wants to be, or work in a museum and those sorts of things, because those jobs are hard to find. What I came to understand is that I had to become a much better writer. So I did really work on that. Am I a super fantastic, amazing writer? No. Can I write fairly well? Yes. So that is what I got I got my degree in history. But in order to really get a job in the real world, I had to figure out how to write. And through just osmosis, listening to people who were in marketing, because I was actually in a room one time when I was working, and everybody else around me was part of the marketing social media team. And they would just have kind of discussions and talks and these sorts of things. And I would just listen to them. I just thought it was interesting. And my other thing as well is that I'm I just have some fairly good instincts, you could say. Some of it's kind of natural. So I kind of understand. And if you pay attention, if you really kind of think about things, what's a good marketing strategy, what's a bad one, like you can catch on to what's good and bad if you have at least some predilection there. Not everybody does, though, so I understand if that doesn't come naturally. But yeah, my degrees are in history. Nothing to do with marketing, but I've lived around with marketing enough where I understand how to do it well, or at least what it should look like when it's done well. Marketing is all about telling a story. We did this whole deep dive in a work session once, and it was about the hero's journey as a marketing ploy. So there's actually a whole book about it. Not sure what it's called, but it's about basically leading your customer through a journey where they're the hero by purchasing X product. And so that's what we did. So I don't know the book name. I'm sure you could look it up. I think they even use Star Wars maybe as a reference point. So anyways, if you're curious, I actually want to go back and actually read that myself, but we were taking prompts for this new program we were starting, and like they wanted us all to go through that and for us to share what we thought about particular things. So, Sir Squirrel Lot says real quick, and we'll get to super chats here in a second. Brittany, let's talk royals. Have you seen the new book on royal diamonds? Yes, I did see that. I plan because I do want to go to the exhibition of the Queen's fashion, so I will probably pick that up in London probably in June. I'm hoping for a 2-week trip in June. We'll see if that comes together or not, because there's a lot of things. There's the Danish yachts, there's Swedish National Day, there's a state visit in the Netherlands, there is then Tripping the Color, and also though the 50th wedding anniversary of King Carl Gustaf and Queen Sylvia of Sweden. I actually may do Sweden instead of the UK. So I may not cover Trooping. I may just do the 50th anniversary instead, because they're bringing out like the special boat and they're going to do an opera event and these sorts of things. So I feel like that feels more historic and fun, because Trooping is like, it's Trooping. It's sort of the same every year. It's not super duper exciting, but we do have some super chats and members to get here to hear. Hold my donuts. Oh, donuts sound absolutely lovely. Became a YouTube member. Why, thank you so much. Hold my donuts. Yes, hold my donuts. Well, actually, don't hold my donuts. Please give me donuts. Carol said this weekend is the 5th anniversary of the Oprah interview. Yes, you are just right, because, oh my goodness, when you said that, I saw that earlier and I was like, you are right, because I uploaded 2 videos, one like the intro video, which I need to redo now because the channel's 4 years old. And then another video, next video was dissecting the Harry and Meghan Oprah Winfrey interview as I could. So that was my 2nd video ever for the channel. So, and I released it on the 1st anniversary of the interview. So I haven't actually watched it. We can maybe watch a little bit of that later, but we'll keep going here. Teresa said, gifted 1 Royal News Network membership. Why, thank you so much, Teresa. I'm sure somebody is so excited. We also have Carol, who said Royal Collection Trust releasing new book, Royal Diamonds. Just fab, pre-order it today. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's always fun to see new diamond books coming up for sure. We also had Teresa Holtum, 1630. Thank you so much for the super chat, saying, hope everyone is okay and safe in the crazy world we all live in. What has Skid Markle down now? Brittany, is there any books on Audible on the Iranian royals? Want a Republic, please? So I don't know. I don't know if of any books off the top of my head. That's not really probably my area of expertise. So I don't know any books on that region. I would like to obviously learn more. I have a book now on like the Spanish Revolution. Oh yeah. Oh, well, and also, on Carlos. This was written in like 2005. So it's well before all his scandals, and there's so much. So lots to go through here. So lots to catch up on. So I don't have anything to recommend about the Iranian royals. But yeah, when it comes to Meghan, she's going it alone, guys, all on her own with as ever. it's gonna collapse. That's my thought. So thank you so much, Teresa. We also have Carol, who's been a member for 26 months. Thank you so much, saying Netflix started as a mail order movie rentals and then went into streaming. Yes, they were the first big ones to do streaming, and they became the set. But I remember getting my DVDs through Netflix, and it was a really cool idea. Teresa said maybe she said 20% of any sale goes to charity. She might have a business that makes her money, or even 5% for charity might be given to people, I think, or okay, she's helping someone. So maybe then she stood a chance. So actually, yeah, Teresa, thank you so much for the super chat. And I actually had the same thought, especially with the bundles that she keeps doing, because it's just obvious she really wants to move product and is just not moving. And so her strategy is bundling, which I'm sure was not Netflix's strategy. They're like, discount, discount, get on Instagram, show you actually consuming your own products, Meghan Markle. That might help. Like, don't do these high production things. Just do simple, simple things like Gwyneth Paltrow does. You know why Gwyneth Paltrow is able to sell things? It's because, like, she does it herself. Let's see here if I can find one of them real quick. Because when you can do that yourself, it's just so much better. Hold on. Let's see. Stop screen. So here she is, what I'm gifting the beauty lovers in my life. And so she shares what she's gifting. And so that's 12 weeks, probably maybe around Christmas. But yeah, this is how you do it, guys. This is how you do it. She's explaining what the bag is. She doesn't explain what the products are, but I bet you what's on my wish list. Oh, she did some restock with Ulta and shares what she got, maybe. And of course, she's very rich and wealthy. Sorry, I was thinking that maybe. But she'll explain her little products. Maybe it's more in Goop she does it. But she does a good job of it, which would kind of fit with Meghan. She does with her nervous system reset, kitchen, ingredients, these sorts of things. And Meghan's just not doing any of this. And it shows. It shows. But yeah, I think offering not a discount, but offering saying, hey, yeah, X percentage of this goes to, let's say, the Palisades fire relief, or it goes to, retired actors in an old folks home, or goes to a dog shelter, or like a no-kill dog shelter, or something like that. Sorry, I knocked the mic or camera there for a second. I think she'd have a much better shot of moving her products. But the thing is that she doesn't do that. And I think people are like, she's kind of reached market saturation. Like, she's reached everybody who wants it. I mean, she'll get some more orders for sure, expanding internationally. But again, will they be enough? I just don't think so. Stephen Magnus, thank you so much for the super chat. Said, Brittany, don't put lit candles in a bookshelf. No, in a bookcase. No, never. When I did my video, and I did have a couple of lit candles, was a couple of years ago on Countess Bathory, I was genuinely quite nervous. Like, I made sure like there were like, 10, 12-inch clearance between the candle and the bookcase. And that they weren't too close. I might not have even had a live candle there. I can't quite remember. I think I had a couple live candles going. Mac Sauce 4351. Thank you so much for the super chat. Said, I'm behind. I have my MBA from Haas, and it hurts how bad Meghan is at business. I love your references to Netflix plus George Lucas. Great case study. It is. George Lucas was very, very smart in understanding merchandise. Like, the merchandise side is huge. It can offset, like, if the movie performs, let's say, moderately well, but the merchandise performs exceedingly well, the merchandise is actually, like, the movie was well worth it. Let's just put it that way. Merchandise side of things is hugely profitable. It can be. Recent Star Wars has not been hugely profitable because they've gone in just like a totally different direction. People don't like it. And because of the general decline in interest in the brand, that means merchandise sales actually go down, which actually makes the brand much less valuable. Actually, the things still selling for Star Wars are from the original trilogy, not really anything new Disney has produced. So Disney paid a lot of money for that. And Netflix is a hugely profitable business. It's been very, very successful, hugely influential in the entertainment industry. It is the game in town. And I think Meghan is a fool for throwing Netflix away and just acting like she was like, I always want to go on my own. I can do it. Netflix is holding me back. And I'm like, how? By telling you no, like get your stuff together in the US first. When you have a strong market in location 1, then expand to location B. If things aren't working in location 1, expanding to location B, maybe it offsets the problem, or I just think in most cases it just makes it worse. Because it didn't work in location A for a reason you didn't figure out why it didn't work for location A in the beginning and just moved on to location B and just thought that would fix things. It's just a horrible way to go about business. Lady Saucy Minx became a YouTube member. Why, thank you so much, Lady Saucy. And we have Carol who gifted 1 Royal News Network membership. Why, thank you so much, Carol. And we have Teresa here. Thank you so much again for the super chat saying, Brittany, does As Ever stuff have Braille on it like some food or medicine boxes do for the sight impaired? Meghan needs to think about her branding being inclusive to all people. It does not have that. None of it has that. I mean, honestly, I would argue most of her stuff is actually fairly cheap. Yeah, there's a little bit of, you can see a little bit of the expiration here. Like that's not even raised. So yeah, it's definitely not inclusive in terms of the product at all. Oh, and Teresa gifted 1 Royal News Network membership. I thank you so much, Teresa. I do really appreciate it. So Priyanki says, if you check the joint statement by Meghan and Netflix last year after their first look deal, Netflix actually stated they were continuing to release new products only until the end of 2025. So I'd have to look at it again just to see, but I don't quite remember that. Lynn Lundson did. Oh, I can't talk. Lumsenden says, Brittany, what's the use by sell by dates for the spread you brought? I don't know the spread. I should go back downstairs and look. It's in the fridge. I just left it in the fridge. So yeah, it's definitely, I would guess it's not great. Missy Lulu says, Diana J. Galdon, author of Outlander book series, and Julia Quinn, author of the Bridgerton series. Both ladies are rich like J.K. Rowling. I mean, they're rich, but not J.K. Rowling rich. J.K. Rowling is a different level of rich when it comes to authors, for sure. And that's because of the merchandise sales. Guys, Harry Potter merchandise is huge. It's massive. So J.K. gets a cut of all that. And so because of that, that is what makes her exceedingly rich, far, far richer than Diana or Julia could ever hope to be. It's because of the merchandise sales. Bridgerton, somewhat, but I've heard it described that Harry Potter is basically Star Wars for millennials. And I find that to be quite true. And so there's just a rabid fan base of Harry Potter, more than Bridgerton, more than Outlander. And so, I mean, in this, let's see, if we were going to tier them, it would be Harry Potter, way up in infinity, Julia Quinn for Bridgerton, and then probably further down below that, Diana. Because yes, Bridgerton and Outlander both have series, but when it comes to global impact, nothing really beats Harry Potter. Namastella says, As Ever is going to end up at TJ Maxx. I think so. Annie says, I literally laughed out loud when I read Meghan broke ties with Netflix because they were too cautious. Re her brand. What a joke. They ditched her because the brand sucks. Yeah, I think that's what happened. I think 100% they ditched her because it sucked. Kate Italiano says, yeah, I liked Goop back when it launched just as a newsletter with some recipes and detox stuff. I was really into that back in 2008, but she lost me when she started to sell stuff. I mean, it's sort of the natural progression, but yeah, I can understand if it's like at some point, it's like, oh, this is not stuff I'm really interested in. It happens. Sorry, I'm just making sure my mic didn't accidentally mute. Clifford says she's silly to ignore advice. Yes. Sherry says, with the tariffs, not many will buy outside the US. Yeah, so I don't know. So again, the US is putting tariffs on company or on products that are being imported into the United States. We used to have 0 tariffs, which means I could order from Baloo London and not have to pay import costs. And last time I was going to buy something from their sale, but it was like $100 in tariffs. I'm like, no. So people do buy stuff outside, but going outside the US, that I don't know, because there's maybe some reciprocal tariffs. And so some companies may go, yeah, we'll take or countries may go, yeah, you can sell here, but you have to pay more. So we'll see. But most likely she would distribute within that particular country. So she would have to move inventory from her warehouse in Los Angeles to, wherever she has her warehouse. I don't know where it is, but the product would have to be moved to those other locations, or they would have to produce the product at those locations, which again is another cost and bad, especially if she is already at this point wildly overstocked. It's better to move the stock that you have, but that requires time, money, energy, effort. That's a big risk. Or you ship it from the States, which would mean exceedingly expensive on the country's ordering. Kev's Max says, what happened to the Diana project? Like it's been something that's kind of been rumored, but not confirmed. But that would be one of the few things Netflix would be like, yeah, we would buy that. Kate Italiano says the end of 2025 statement is correct. I remember asking the Sidley twins about that portion of the statement at the time. Well, and if it is, because I do remember reading the statement, so I maybe talked about it. I can't remember. Everything sort of blurs after a while, but that they weren't interested in continuing it and were already backing out, again, says something. They were done. KH212 says, if she was doing really well in the local US market, Netflix would definitely have looked at foreign market. They probably can see ads ever failing as the rest of us and decide to get out while they can. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. The numbers just weren't there. They just weren't there, and they were already worried. So, Maggie says, hi, Brittany. Netflix drops Meghan. You called her Brittany. Congrats on 4 years. Why, thank you. Bobby says, bless her heart. Yep. Lady Amber says, what are your thoughts on the BBC not airing Commonwealth Day? That is very interesting, and it is kind of sad, but it goes to a kind of a larger discussion over, again, somewhat the collapse of, I would argue in some ways, British culture, in some ways, because what we're sort of seeing is as the immigration and stuff has infiltrated, what it means to be Britain has become diluted somewhat. And so that's just kind of the flip side. America is a melting pot, so everybody kind of has to adapt. And we have such a multiculturalism already in some ways that it's very easy to get involved. Whereas Britain has a much more long-standing culture and these sorts of things. And so it's very, I think, important for Britain to have its connections to culture. And that's just kind of been, I think, decreasing over the years, quite sadly. Okay. Asma says it is huge in the UK, Harry Potter merch. Yeah, it's huge. It's huge. Merchandise, guys, merchandise kills anything else. J.K. Rowling, I mean, she makes a boatload from the books, but she makes a crap ton of money on merchandise because it all belongs to her. It's her creation. And there, Superman merch, DC gets a cut of that. Batman merch, DC gets a cut. Iron Man, Marvel gets a cut. Anything that has a particular kind of branding thing gets a cut. And so that's how it works. Mega Catcher says, Brittany, what is on your Royal Fashion wish list? You should do a Royal Fashion Live, the Royal One Runway. So I've actually thought about doing that for like the best and worst list, but then I kind of scrapped that idea because I kind of like having a dedicated, this is the best and worst list. I kind of do have that, and I think it would get a little complicated if I did it live, but I wouldn't mind doing more lives on Royal Fashion News, like maybe just sort of fun lives, but we'll have to see where that would work. Kate Italiano says, my local Barnes & Noble has 2 full aisles of Harry Potter merch. Yep. It's very popular. Shanta says, you can also watch Harry Potter with the kids and give them merch. Yep. Jared Cross says, Brittany, any information on the fake channel posting as you? They can't be allowed to get away with it. Yeah, I need to work on that a little bit. It's just super weird. YouTube has finally come up with a feature, because the problem was I was reporting it, but like, how do you report it? Because it's like, it's spam, and it's not, it's, misinformation, and it's not really at the same time, because there was no function to say this person is using AI to impersonate, but they have come out with that feature. And so you can go ahead and do that. I just need to do that. Lynn Gideon says, I'm not typically a YA reader, but J.K. Rowling got a good chunk of change from Mr. It's a very good book series. It's a very good, very well written. I think she was really smart in having an end game in hand, because there's another author that I kind of sort of like, but I kind of go back hit and miss. And it's weird because she has claimed that she wants her books to kind of stand independently, sort of. But there is also at some point, like, the overarching story became a big central part of the book. So it's like technically a long story, but she sees them all independently, and it just doesn't totally work. And I think certain books work well like that, but I don't think all books work well in that way. I don't think hers particularly work well in that way. But I think if you're going to do a series, especially like JK, you really do need to have your ending in mind. You need to know what you're setting up and how it's going to pay off. And I think in novel, it works much better. It's funny, I was talking to somebody about this, because I was like, I like the idea of the author having the end game in mind. But I will say that doesn't totally work if it's a TV production, because the actors do influence the script and presentation, these sorts of things. Because I can't help but think of How I Met Your Mother, because I really liked that show. And like when the final season was coming on, I was making it a focus to like watch every episode in the lead up to the final. And then the final hit, and I hated it, because the final to me made no sense. It wasn't just that spoiler alert, but this show is like 10 years old now. The mom died. That wasn't actually it. For me, it was that it didn't seem like any of the characters progressed at all. Like, they basically went back to where they started at the beginning. And I just found that very, very annoying. And I felt like, okay, so we've had 9 years of character building only for you to assassinate it all in one episode at the end. I can't even watch the show anymore. Like, if I turned it on, I'm just not even sure I could watch it, just because I hated the ending so much. Because it just felt like, okay, we went back to Ted and Robin. We were at that from the beginning. It's just kind of dumb at this point. They didn't work for a very good reason. And his thing is, he just needed to move on. I think what would have been so much better if the show kind of sort of ended on him just going on a first date again. That would have been my preference. I don't mind that the mom died. It made sense, given that the father was explaining who the mother was to the kids, and how he got there, and how just embracing dating again would have been, I think, the much smarter move. But they made the mistake of filming the series finale in season 2, in the beginning of season 2. So they were stuck with that series finale. And actors influence things. How they play things, and how things, chemistry and these sorts of things, all factor in a way that a novel is much more controlled, because you don't have the additional factor of humans adding their own bits and bobs to it. So anyways, I don't know. Cha says, can't include the whole family with Bridgerton. I love the show, but have children. Yeah. Beverly says, TJ Maxx, bottom shelf. GJG says, Brittany, I have actually wanted to start a YouTube channel possibly, but really wanted to launch my baking business. I'd love for your feedback sometimes. Yeah, I've thought about definitely doing kind of maybe a little bit of a how to start YouTube series, because there's definitely stuff that you can do. But it is, of course, some of it is, and this is one of the things I learned, because when I started my YouTube channel, somebody else had suggested like this YouTube boot camp thing. And I tried it a little bit and pretty quickly realized it was not for people like me, people who had basically started out and had a decent amount of success, like not huge, but it's like my channel was growing, getting into the thousands. And some of those other people on there had a channel for years, if not maybe a decade, and it just never took off. So I think my big feedback, just generally, now I can go into more specifics maybe for like members on something. I've thought about also making it into maybe a Substack or something, but one of the things is like, You can, of course, try it and you might be wildly successful. I mean, shorts is a great way to start because shorts are easy, or at least a little bit easier. But the thing is, if it just doesn't work after a month or two, it's just probably not really worth your time. Either you're in the wrong, let's say, space. Because I tried to do fashion at first and my fashion channel failed. 100%. I think I only got 7 subscribers. It sucked. And I gave up. And I think that's perfectly fine because sometimes, because it's a lot of work to film and edit and stuff. And so if it's not working, just not worth putting the energy and effort and sacrificing time with family and friends to do it. That would be my suggestion, because some of it is, can you be good on camera? And some people are just not that great. It's kind of funny because I've watched this. I really enjoy watching Katie Van Slyke's content, and there's, some people who are kind of in the periphery, and I've watched a little bit of their stuff, and they just don't have the personality to really pop off on screen. And they do well because of their connection to her, but not really probably on their own would they do quite as well. And so some of it just comes down to personality. And so that stuff is kind of like the magical X factor that you just don't know if it works until it works. You just have to try it. You just have to try it. It can 100% work. But my always thought would be, if it just is not working, it's probably just not worth the time right now. Maybe rejigger it, figure it out, bring it back, or try something different, or just retire it. Because if it's not, let's say, doing super well, it's just not worth sacrificing time with family and friends and, maybe wasting money, time, and effort on something that's just not working. Shani Mock said, "Oh yeah, I just saw that. I love books too. Never put breakfast on it." No, it's crazy. Missy Lulu says, "Both ladies make money of licensing cookbooks, music, merchandise, and rollover series, and also Robin Carr, who wrote Virgin River, and Twilight's Stephanie Meyer." Yes, but nowhere near Harry Potter level. Nowhere near Harry Potter level. They all do well. But again, Harry Potter stratosphere is 100% stratosphere. Let me look up here. Let's see. Hold on. Yeah, so at least when it comes to selling books, Harry Potter, this is just from Wikipedia, just to give you all an idea. So more than 100 million, you got Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, you got all the Harry Potter, between 50 and 100 million copies for each of them. So that's, huge. 120 million. And then you got 77, 65, 65, 65, 65, 65. Wow, that's remarkable, guys, to be. So she did lose people between the first book and the remaining books. But that's Catcher in the Rye, sorry. But from The Prisoner of Azkaban on, solid 65 million books. That's actually really, really good. That's actually very interesting. So that shows a remarkable consistency and holdover. So that's just something. Keep an eye on Bridges in Madison County, Heidi Lolita, Charlotte's Web, The Height Report. I've never even heard of that. Anna Green Gables, Black Beauty, The Name of the Rose, Zetalia, Sophie's World. I never even heard of that. Oh, interesting. Okay. Obviously, The Hobbit from J.R.R. Tolkien. I wonder if J.R.R. Tolkien is on here. Anyways, so you can kind of get an idea of, but it's not just best-selling, it's beyond that into all the merchandise is just astronomical for Harry Potter. Lynn Gideon says her storage fees must be astronomical. They are, I'm sure. And she probably has to keep some temperature control, which can raise the rates. Because if she risks not having temperature control, she risks the product going bad. Because unfortunately, again, this is leather, so I don't know. But you could potentially leave this outside in hot weather and it might be fine. I wouldn't probably recommend that, but I think that's distinctly possible. But like something like this, you could really damage it. Have you guys ever watched the LuLaRoe documentary on, I want to say it's Amazon Prime? and how they left all the product, which was clothing, outside though, exposed, and it got like wet and moldy and oh. Coastal Angel says a lot of companies I use for my aircraft models outside the US stopped selling entirely to the US people. Yeah, very true. Aw, Kesmac said you read my comment. Thank you. You are welcome. Kenny Moo says she can't even come up with stale things like take a moment to say one positive thing about yourself. Yeah. Like it's just one of those things where it's like she's so obviously focused on herself and doesn't know how to make it exclusive because it's like I live by myself. So it's like, who am I going to hug in the morning? I can hug my dog and I do love my dog, but it's just like not the same. And so it's like, hug a loved one. And it's like, but I don't have a loved one to hug. Like, I feel like you're making me feel bad. Coastal Angel says Fortune 500 women submit Meghan as said she and Netflix has a 5-year deal. Maybe, I don't remember. Azima says, where is Sunshine Sacks? They're around. They're around. Susie G Mom says, when you bundle, there should be savings. Exactly. Exactly. Especially if you are selling something that is no longer individually available and you're forcing people to buy more product to get that other product. Clifford says, the Diana project will fail. What else can they say that has not been said by all the documentaries about Diana? But with Harry involved, I could see that being a different story. Steven says, BBC are woke spineless troglodytes. Victory Shout says, New Zealand and Australia are moving away from the royal family. Both of our countries want to break away from the Commonwealth and become republics, so Harry and Meghan don't have a fan base here. Yeah, I would imagine there's not a big fan base for them. Alice says, hi, everyone. Sorry, I'm so late again. No worries. Shaz says, sorry about that. Daughter phoned from Glasgow station and could not answer. Oh, no. So Annie Anonymous says, didn't Ted Sarandos at Netflix say he had a complete confidence in Meghan could sell anything? If so, why part ways with her if her product is selling so well? Interesting. Haha. Yeah, it's obviously not doing well. It's not doing well. They're not making any money from it. Alice says the BBC are useless. Yes. Elizabeth says the spin on Meghan Netflix statements is ridiculous. It's so transparent that we know it's a bit desperate. Yeah. Yeah. It's just so like overly gushy. Shaz says my youngest has been to Harry Potter in London 3 times so far. Yeah, it's a big deal. I like Harry Potter, but I'm not like super into Harry Potter. I mean, I have fond memories of when like the final book was coming out because I actually saw movie number 5 in Portugal because I was on a study abroad trip. So I actually watched it in Portugal, which was pretty cool because it was in English with Portuguese subtitles, and they had a mid-act break. So we actually like they close the curtains and people go out and eat and they come back into the theater. It's kind of crazy. And then the 7th book I bought in Madrid, and my parents were really mad at me because they like pre-ordered the 7th book for me and we're going to bring it to Europe. And they're like, no, we know you already have the 7th book. I'm like, I'm so sorry. I was going to read it again, but I had the British version, which is kind of fun. I have mostly the British versions, which is awesome. Aw, Lou, Buster Loving gave 5 Royal News Network memberships. Why, thank you so much, Lou. I really do appreciate it. Light Talk says, I wonder what Pippa would have done to a book on Rasputin. I have no idea. So if you guys missed it, my little sweet puppy Pippa decided that she did not like my Romanovs book and proceeded when she was a puppy to pee on it. So I had to get rid of it. So Kate Italiano says, had to step away for a bit. Did Brittany talk about the possible link between Jordan visit and the timing of the announcement about parting ways? No, I didn't. But I think this had more to do with it coming out that basically all their projects were in limbo. And then they kind of like rushed out with this to kind of distract from that. But I don't think really Jordan had anything to do with it. I just don't really think there was much there. Susie said Actually, you're in a sterile, but I would have thrown the book away too. Yeah, there's just like thinking now, if I had been more creative, I would have actually have like pulled the pages out and kept the pages to like use and maybe a project or something because it would have been kind of cool. But it's like she had peed on the cover of the book, and it wasn't even like the book jacket, which I could have thrown away. It was the hard cover of the book, like the solid hardcover, and I'm like, I can't do anything with this. Nana's Ranch said, I'm 45 minutes behind. The bundled bookmark is lame. She bundles it with food products, but no cookbook or even journal. She is lost. Absolutely lost. Yep. Yep. Clifford said BBC had a lot of problems and it's shame that they will not work with the broadcast service. The problem of viewership during the working day might be the contributor decision not to broadcast. Sir Squirrelot says, I love your Tiara Watch lives. Why, thank you so much. They are so fun. Light says, I wonder what Pippa would have done to it. Oh, yeah, we did that one. Heather from the Hood said, I think my family paid for a wing in her house in merch from Harry Potter merch. Oh, so true. So true. I mean, it was a brilliant series. Like, she did a fantastic job. Jay Mansell says, hey, would you ever do a video reviewing the Harry and Meghan Oprah interview again now with everything you know now? So I would. The problem I kind of sort of have is that I can't find the full interview. The full interview is just not available. And so there's just no, that was even the problem I had back in 2021. It was like scrubbed from the internet. And so I found bits and bobs of it, but I just couldn't find the whole thing. And so because of that, there's just not a ton. Like, I am thinking of doing a general, like, Royal Rewind series or, Flashback Thursday theories or Throwback Thursday or whatever. And doing like looking at the Emily Maitlis interview with Prince Andrew. I want to do that. Then I also want to do like Diana's panorama interview, maybe look back at Catherine and William's engagement interview, Harry and Meghan's engagement interview, like different interviews that I can look at and kind of react to on like maybe Thursdays or something. I do want to do that, and I would love to do a full review of the Oprah Winfrey interview because I know there's things I missed, but there's just not a way to do it. Like, I'm sure it exists somewhere. I'm sure I could. I mean, if I wanted to get it, guys, I would have to spend a fortune to buy it, and that's just not worth it. But we have Neutral Lady 2001. Why, thank you so much, Neutral Lady. That is so kind of you to become a YouTube member. So glad to have you on our team here. So we have Stephen Magnus saying Game of Thrones, another commercial success. Yes and no. So yes, Game of Thrones was a merchandise powerhouse. However, it obviously, because of its sort of, let's say, hard R rating, it does have like, it won't be purchased much by younger people. Like younger people, like you can be a child of, let's say, 8 or 9 all the way up to an adult in their 50s and 60s. And that spectrum enjoys Harry Potter, which is a little bit different than Game of Thrones. But really what killed Game of Thrones was whatever season 8 was of Game of Thrones. Asma says season 9, last episode ruined everything. Yeah, so Game of Thrones, unfortunately, really did tank at the end. And so because of that, like people used to name, their kids Khaleesi and stuff. And then they're like, no. That's why you wait until the book is done before naming your kid after the character, just in case the character goes bad. I thought that was kind of funny. So, and the book series isn't finished either. So that will definitely diminish, I think, Game of Thrones' return on merchandise over time. And they've definitely made George R.R. Martin a boatload of money, but not quite as much as it could have made in comparison to something like Harry Potter. And Harry Potter also has like the the 4 houses. You can be a Hufflepuff, a Gryffindor, a Ravenclaw, or a Slytherin, like, and you have individual merchandise related to that, and people get really into that. So Harry Potter, like, there's a lot of other things that do have merchandise, like Squid Games as well, and these sorts of things. But man, Harry Potter, like, nothing compares to it, except for maybe a little bit Disney. Nothing, but Disney is like broad, like just one intellectual property. Harry Potter blows everything out of the water, 150%. But yeah, if you were curious, I have taken my Pottermore quiz like way, way back in the day, and I was officially put in Ravenclaw. Although I asked somebody and they said too, they're like, "You could be in Slytherin because you're, ambitious." And I'm like, "Ooh." Yeah, because I was like, I'm ambitious, but not that ambitious. I think Ravenclaw would be a bit better, but I was like, I could see it. Lynn Gideon said, "I hated the Soprano ending. I was tricked." Yeah, I'm almost to the point now where I wanna know the ending to something before I begin it, because if the ending sucks, I don't wanna get like, kind of wrapped into it. Hubby and I loved Game of Thrones. It was like I watched the first season. I actually read, guys, the books before the series came out in high school, and I was just like, "Okay." I just remember the wolves, and I really wanted the wolves to be more important than they were, and they weren't that important, and then some of them were killed. Spoiler alert. Then I was like, "I don't like this." And then I'd have to, like, read individual chapters on people, and I'm like, "I don't really care about this person." As an adult, I might enjoy it more, but in high school, I wasn't that much. It didn't do that much for me. Alice says, "Love Harry Potter, but the merch stuff drives me mad. It's all about the movies are diabolical in my opinion." Very true. I can understand that. Asma says, "What's the point of the wedding over 3 days? They broke up 5 minutes into the last episode." Yes. Oh my gosh. It was so bad. I hated it so much. Princess Goose said, "I can't watch the show anymore either, but it's also Barney's treatment of women that was kind of ick." Yeah. And I honestly thought him and Robin worked. I thought him and Robin worked so much better than Robin and Ted. I was like, we have tried Robin and Ted so many times. They don't work. Like, what? Shanta says, "Big Bang Theory had such a lovely character development. I cried in last episode." Yeah, it was funny because there was a time initially where I thought, "Oh, The Big Bang Theory," well, it definitely obviously did have a little bit decline in quality over time, but it did actually naturally let its characters evolve while still being their characters at the end of the day. And so you look back, it's actually remarkably holds up, and the characters do change, but, I think at a slow rate which reflects real relationships, which I think is cool. Sir Squirrelot says, "Can you even find that interview online?" I think O's company scrubbed it. Yeah, you can't find it online. It's like Harry and Meghan's interview is not online. Alice Ransom Ray says, "I agree, Brittany. How I Met Your Mother had a stupid end. I think it had a flawed premise from the beginning." I mean, if they could have, it's probably better that honestly, How I Met Your Mother flopped, because if it had succeeded, I think a whole bunch of series would have tried to copy it. And the premise didn't work. And I think if it had been written as a book, I think it would have ended much better, or maybe they would have found a better way. But unfortunately, the natural progression of the actors and these sorts of things, because actors are that critical kind of X factor in this phenomenon that can make things change. But it was interesting though. What I found sort of interesting is that Allison Hannigan, who was played Lily in the show, the redhead, and I think she did a really good job. I thought it was interesting that she's in this movie with Kevin James, and she's fallen, like, so far down the Hollywood ladder that she wasn't even they didn't even say her name as, like, starring Kevin James and Allison Hannigan, like, her name wasn't even there, and I'm like, "Wow, she's had a really big." I mean, she's had 2 very successful series, Buffy and How I Met Your Mother, but in addition to her movie premiere with American Pie. But I think honestly, How I Met Your Mother actually didn't play well long run for most of the actors attached to it, except for maybe Jason Segel, just because he had a film career outside of it. But I haven't heard much from him either. Kobe Smulders has had a couple of small things, like just mostly in Marvel is what I know her from. I think Neil Patrick Harris does most of his stuff on Broadway type of thing. He's done a couple things on television, but not quite as much. I honestly think the ending of How I Met Your Mother actually hurt their careers because it didn't land well. Heather Cranford said, "Sorry, I had to leave for a sec. What shows are we talking about?" We were talking about How I Met Your Mother. Stephen Magnus says, "Twilight Wednesday, more addictive series." Rose um, Rosen Adem says, "Will the goods go to TK Maxx?" Yes. It's funny though, because it's TK Maxx in the UK and TJ Maxx here in the States. Missy Lulu says, "Many female authors have been successful with TV film series. Stephanie Meyer, Charlene Harris, Robin Carr, Diana Galadon, Julia Quinn, Deborah Harkness." Yes. Chris Amon says, "Meghan Markle is to blame. She should get a divorce from Prince Harry, have Prince Harry be deported back to the United Kingdom. Well, she needs that title. And I think if she gets divorced, she won't get that title. So Lynn Gideon says, passion for what you are presenting is a huge part of it. Yes, it is. It does definitely come across. If it's not your thing, it will translate into what people see. Sharon says, you deserve your success. Why, thank you. We have Clifford who says, even if she wrote an autobiography, she can't just concentrate on her 2 seconds in the BRF. She has lied a lot and no one will believe what she will say in her book. It will be fact checked. Yeah, I don't know how well it'll go, but it'll make money. That's really all they got to make money anymore. James Cake said, many high-end jam competitors and King Charles doesn't make Meghan be as successful with her name only and personality. Yeah. USA Patriot says, found My People magazine from July 1st, 1996. And William was on the cover when he was 14 years old, and they were calling him a teen idol. I put George from January 2026 and his dad's mini me. Aw. I'm Anna says, I can't understand who one human fail at absolutely everything with all this help and fame and connections handed to her by her connection to the royals. It's a great question. GJG says, thank you. I would love that. Alice says, I've thought a lot about starting a YouTube channel about movies and TV, but I think I'll start with a blog first. It sounds more flexible. Yeah, Substack is really blowing up. So that would be my recommendation, because you don't have to have you don't have to pay to create a website. That's very expensive. And I mean, I still have royalnewsnetwork.com. I'll probably always keep it. I need to make sure I still have it so nobody else steals it. But I just still keep it active. So yeah. Steven says, I can only binge watch Wednesday. Aram Scout says, not millennial here, but love Harry Potter. Lots of people love Harry Potter. Vintage Lucero says, congrats on your 5-year anniversary. Will you be watching Love Story? Any interest in JFK Jr. and Carolyn Bessette? Not really. I remember when they died, because we were also camping when they died. We were also camping when Princess Diana died. Ironically, I remember the little TV we had in the back of the motorhome that had a VHS player, like intact. It was like a 10-inch TV. And we remember watching a little bit of that in the back of the motorhome. But anyways, it doesn't interest me that much. And at least Daryl Hannah came out today and said, like, her depiction is nowhere near accurate. So I'm just kind of hesitant. I wouldn't mind watching a documentary about them. I wouldn't mind learning more about them. But for some reason, dramas always make me hesitate a little bit, especially when there are people who have lived in this, like, there are people who are still alive and stuff, like, and we have videos and images of them that we can see. I don't mind, like, historical events, like if you're going to do something about Queen Elizabeth I or Peter the Great or something like that, it has to be dramatized, because there is no, Peter the Great or something like that walking around. But I do find dramatizations can take things out of context, and so I'm just a little bit more hesitant. But if you enjoy it, absolutely enjoy it. But it's just not totally my thing. But yeah, I wouldn't mind watching a documentary about it. Azima says, Harry Potter book got generations to read. It did. Willy Wonka, thank you for the heart. Is it a chocolate heart? Francisco said, that made me so angry. I'd rather have a blah finale like Friends than this one. I hated it in Friends when Ross and Rachel got together. I mean, I can see that. I mean, I know the audience was reaching for it, but they were really toxic too. Lavi J. Ita Loca says, I just sent her my condolences on As Ever Instagram stories. Heather said, I love Tolkien. He's a phenomenal writer. I just had a hard time. It was a little bit too detailed of writing to me. Honestly, I like history books. I really genuinely do like history books to read. Those are the books I prefer to read. I know, not that I don't mind fiction, but I just got a little bit frustrated with fiction after a while. I mean, but it has to be well written. Although I will say, when it comes to history books, if you're like too verbose in explaining something, I'd be like, no, you just need to be simple. Like, I tried to read, the author's name is Stacy, and she had these books on like One was on Cleopatra, one was on the Salem witches, and she started off with this story in the Salem witch one, and I was just like, oh, get to the point. Tired of this meandering around type thing. Like, just get to the point. Like, you don't need to embellish a historical story 9 times of the time. Lynn Gideon says the Harry Potter series got a bit darker as it went on. Done very well, but I can see where some people have checked out. Yeah. USA says, I got an ad as a split screen. I'm sorry. Princess Sweet Caroline says, how many books did the bench sell? No idea. So Willy Wonka says, when someone gives a membership, who gets it? So it's one of those things where it just kind of chooses somebody randomly in the chat if they have that option open. So I don't know how you open that option, but that is how it works. All right. Siva said it's done by YouTube. Yeah, at random. Princess Goose says the Height Report was a study on human sexuality like Kinsey. Ah, okay. Steven says tea is between 1 to 2 years maximum life. Oh, you know, I would love to have a hot chocolate business, man. I could sell hot chocolate. You wouldn't believe. So Susan says, I don't know why I thought about that because I was thinking teas and Meghan sells teas. And I'm like, if I could sell hot chocolate, that would be awesome. Susan Brown says, going global with what? Bookmarks? Hello? Audible? Audiobooks? What a stupid idiot. Well, I will say people still love tangible books. I mean, I honestly prefer tangible books. When I'm traveling, I take my Kindle. I take my Kindle Scribe because it does have a notes feature. I kind of want to get the new one that has color, even though I've heard it's not really all that different, but I kind of want the new one in color, but they're kind of overpriced for what they are, I think. Asma says, Meghan won't be able to sell outside the USA. Our food standards are different. Very true. Like, if she was smart, she has produced stuff that fit the standard for as many countries as possible. I just don't know if she did. Clifford said she'll end up throwing away a lot of lost product because they will be out of date. Even if she tried to paste over the new dates, it will not work. I think that's going to be the case. Sadie in the house says spread flour sprinkles. Yes, USA Patriot says, I live by myself for 35 years now. My cat of 19 and a half years passed away in 922. I can't bring myself to get another pet at my age. I'm sorry. I know this hard. BD Trend says, I bet Harry Potter books dwindled after the third because that's when the movie started. So people stopped reading and started simply watching the story. That could be true. But I think some people like first book will always get the most because it has the most curiosity. And you do have a natural, like some people just don't want to finish it. Or let's say they finish it, but they're more likely to check it out from a library than actually buy it. So that doesn't mean more books in circulation. Heather says that could put people in a depressive state if they lost a loved one. It could. I just don't think it's very nice. Brenda says HP is for family, which makes it so big. All other authors are more for adults. Very true. Asma says Meghan won't be able to sell outside the US. I think we covered that. J Mansell says, what do you think the monarchy will look like if Harry was firstborn? I think he would be a much different person, though, if he was firstborn, to be honest. Angelique Hammond says, how much of Harry's inheritance was spent on her jams and wine? But she was spent on extra products stocked up. Yeah, I think so. Laura says, had not seen anything in the UK media about this. They definitely did cover it, The Sun for sure. Sorry, I'm trying to kind of end close to 5, guys. So I'm trying to kind of run through the last of the comments here. Sir Scrollot says, Harry never went to see another jar of running spread for the rest of his life. ECCABD says, Pippa is a cutie. She is cute. Except for when she pee-pees on books. She's never done that again, though. Heather says, Brittany, you should do a limited series on castles and palaces of the royal family, even defunct families. I love architecture. Yes, I would love to. Hopefully, we will get there. Lynn Gideon says, make sure your YouTube settings are up to accept gifts. And Mon P says, you've traveled a lot. How many countries have you been to? Which one was your favorite? So I've been to, I think, 25, 26. I don't know if I have a favorite. I don't really want to go back to Haiti again. That was not pleasant. But I do enjoy, like most of Europe, the Scandinavian countries. I do like London. I know not everybody does, but I do enjoy it. Not really a big fan of Paris, though. Loved Nice. Nana's Ranch said, Meghan needs a clearance sale of overstock and an influx of new relevant products. Yes. Angelique says, I love seeing Pippa give you hugs while she's showing your paw pendant. So sweet. Yeah, she likes giving her she leans. Sweet girl. Fire Elemental says, LOL, Harry better love jam because at this rate, they are losing money. They'll have to eat the jam to survive. Maggie said, I just finished the book entitled today. I was literally sitting with my jaw on the floor most of the time. Unbelievable. Do you think the queen knew most of what Andrew was up to? If she didn't know, I mean, she had to have some idea. She had to have some idea. But I think she was in denial. And I think also people didn't deliberately tell her things because they knew she would go, oh, no, I don't want to hear that. So they didn't tell her. Lynn Gideon says, make sure that you have subscribed. Ritz says, Pippa is an equal opportunity commenter. She is. She is. Desert Mermaid said, hi, all. I'm late. Great Shaz just rescued a 7-year-old dog, and it was great for him and me. Aw. Laurel says, ew, they would have smelled bad. Yeah. Kate Italiano says, okay, someone who knows how to search the dark web needs to locate the full Oprah interview so Brittany can review it again. I mean, you can get the transcript, but not the full video. Angela says, I'm sure Oprah interview was scrubbed from the internet because of all the lies it told. Yeah, you had to go to like some sketchy places to kind of get it. And I still couldn't get the whole thing. Montana May says, how much does it cost these people to scrub something from the internet? I would be curious. I would be curious for sure. The Canadian Diana said, as a former retailer, you bundled products for an attractive price. A reduction in price of each product drove sales every time. Yes. I don't know why she doesn't do it. It's so obvious. It's so obvious. She doesn't even have to put the little 15% off. Just like do it. Barbara Schwartz says, about a portion of the funds going to those who have subpart limb amputations. Oh, man. Oh, yeah. Sir Squirrel Lot says Star Wars merch is up there, too. Yes. It has taken a dive because of the new stuff. But, yeah, Star Wars merch sells a crap ton as well. Shaz says, phew, don't feel so alone now. It never took my fancy, but so many people I know talk about when they were having our weekly coffee meetings. But still, nope, couldn't watch. Kate Italiano says, and Harry Potter has staying power. It's been like 20 years and still gains new fans. Yeah, though I think when, not to be morbid or anything, but when she dies, that would probably change because other people would be in control of it and they may not be as good at managing it as she is right now. V London says, does your mom go any of your trips? Yes, she has gone on 2. I'm trying to get her to go on the Slovenia one. Lynn Gideon says, love the passion in this group. Yes. Princess Goose says, Ted reminds me of Ross and Friends. They ruined both of those characters over the years. Yeah, and once you realize Ted and How I Met Your Mother is just kind of an awful guy, it really does take the whole thing out of it for me. Carol says Jason Segel is in Shrinking with Harrison Ford. That has gotten good recommendations for sure. So that's good. But he had success before with like the Judd Apatow movies and those sorts of things. So like in Forgetting Sarah Marshall. So I feel like he was able to weather the failure of the finale, I think, much better than the rest of the cast. Just my personal opinion, though. Crispin says, Meghan is the next Sofia Coppola. Doesn't Netflix know that? Oh, my goodness. She still can't tell a good story to save her life. Heather said she'll still keep the title, but won't be the Duchess of Sussex. Right? Correct. But they might change things up if the Harry and Meghan do get divorced now to make things much different. Crispin said she should just lean into the yacht stories and try to sell Below Decks. Montana May said, if Harry remarries, what's the title for his new wife? The Duchess of Sussex. Meghan would just be Duchess of Sussex. Oh, no. Yeah, because if Meghan remarried, she would definitely lose the title. That's why Sarah didn't remarry. Gideon says, I believe if they divorced, she would become known as the Princess Meghan, wouldn't she? No, she'd be whatever title they were when they were married. P. Down says, I wish someone would put together a montage of Meghan saying, Netflix is my partner. I'm sure someone could do it because she definitely hyped up that connection a lot. So that she lost it tells you something. Angela says, I was watching CNN with my sister in our room and they found JFK Jr.'s plane in the ocean along with the luggage. That was sad. Alice Ransom Ray says, the Kennedys, if there was ever a cursed family, it's them. You could not pay me to join that family. Yeah, especially with the death of Caroline's daughter recently. I'm like, oh, they are something nasty in that family. Lynn Gideon says Maureen Callahan did a well-researched book on the Kennedy women. She has pretty much trashed the series. Yeah, I've seen a little bit of that from Maureen. So not that I'm like a huge fan, but yeah, it's just kind of not my favorite. Crispin says she wants to do a Broadway version of LA Riots. She was so traumatized after all. Clifford said, hopefully the letters of patent will strip her of title when they divorce. I imagine that would be coming. Heather said, Tolkien can be hard to read, but I love his books. I mean, I totally admire his imagination and his writing and those sorts of things and how he was able to craft that world. Just had a hard time reading it. Blue Jean Lady says, the comment is very late, but your new camera is awesome. The clarity is fantastic. Can we see how pretty we can see how pretty you are? Why, thank you. Yes. It's the lens for sure, because it's the same camera I used before, but I changed out the lens because I had the new setup and the previous lens wasn't working. And I actually had to change up my makeup routine. I feel like I look actually very, what's the word for? I guess greasy, but very shiny right now. I should put maybe more powder on or something. But it is, I had to update my makeup routine because the lens is so good. Mark Sota says, I'm pretty certain Netflix had no investment to recoup. The streaming service instantly cut ties after a year period. I think they probably invested. That would be my guess. Alice says, Tolkien was great, but he struggled to know when to stop writing it. But the movies are amazing. Well, I think he just had such a detailed world, and he had thought about things like true, really good writers know not only the story beats, but what has happened before and what will happen after the story. Because sometimes you read books or see movies or whatever, and everything seems kind of outside, like all of a sudden these people appeared and are doing X, Y, and Z, whereas Tolkien's world feels very lived in. J.K. Rowling's world feels very lived in, and it's very impressive. Danielle Adams says, hi, Brittany. Any thoughts about Diana movies and books? I haven't read and consumed too many of them, but it just feels kind of icky. So many people capitalizing off her life. But yeah, I do want to read more. I have Diana Rama downstairs. Jared Cross says hot chocolate with a hint of coffee and sprinkle of cinnamon. Yeah. Mega Catcher says, kind of surprised As Ever hasn't done a limited edition hot chocolate and partner with Harry because doesn't he love hot chocolate? Yes. He asked for it at a meeting. He did. That's what they should do. Sir Squirrel says, Brittany, do you think any real big pieces from Diana's collection will come out? The Pearl Choker, especially for Catherine the Princess of Wales? Probably. Coastal Angel says, Meghan should never be allowed to leave Harry. They are each other's karma. Yeah. Montana May says, hoping you get your wish to visit Australia, Brittany. Why, thank you. I think that'll be next year. Bobby Australia says, well, I'm late. It's funny. It was announced on People that Netflix dropped Harry and Meghan, and she's happy. Wow. Yeah. Oh, man. Lou Buster Levin says, could not resist the paw necklace. Got one for my mom for Mother's Day. She loves my dog. So as much as she always gets a grandma gift that day, she'll love this so much. Yes, it's so cute. So cute. Jared Cross says, if I ever start a business, I'm asking Brittany for advice. I mean, honestly, my best advice would be to watch Shark Tank because it does give you like a little bit of an idea of kind of business and what people like. They threw around terms. I felt like it was very good learning. It's like not perfect, but it helps. Lynn Gideon says she marked things up so much she can't afford to discount. Yeah, I think that's part of it. She's really trying to recoup the money, and that's why she refuses to do that. Tan says, Brittany, I think you're right about this possibly happened back in January. For the last 2 months, you have been tracking the increase in number of emails and how bad her posts are. Yep. Brenda says, I hope Harry and Meghan realize they are burning every bridge and every chance they had to succeed because of the lying and cheating. I mean, yeah, there's definitely some of that. Gideon says, you think she'd be a better storyteller? She lies a lot. She does. Desert Mermaid says, I have the same lipstick from Lisa Eldridge, plus many more shades. Great brand. It is a great brand. 19KK Kittens Kiddo said, I thought stripping all the titles of non-working roles would mean that even if they were divorced later, the title would be gone already. I think that'll happen. Heather says, as far as American Dynasty go, the Astors and the Vanderbilts are my favorites. The Kennedys are okay. Yeah, I guess there's doing a new movie about Kennedy Sr., JFK's father. Mary Deal says Meghan would have hated being called Princess Henry. She would. Jeffrey said Meghan Markle's world feels very much lived in. My fantasy world in which she has disappeared. J.O.M. Hayden says, I thought Meghan's team said she dumped Netflix. I think it was a mutual dumping. But they're both trying to put Meghan on the best foot forward. So Squirrel says, you could go cover a whale's tour to Oz. Yes, I would like to. That's possible. Lynn says, could you use the paw pendant on a charm bracelet? I mean, I think so. Rit says, no, Lady Dumbarton. She would love that. Yeah. Tam says raising the bookmark price by $2 a month or two looks really bad. It does too. That looks bad as well, guys. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have gotten, I think I finally got to the end of the chat. So, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We'll go ahead and wrap it up here. Thank you so much for being on the RNN journey with me. This has been such a fun ride, guys. You make it possible. Thank you so much. I'm glad we were able to talk about, though, this big change for Meghan. Ah, little itty bitty dear. She's on her own, guys. She's gonna stand on her own 2 feet and it'll fail right underneath her. So, guys, thank you so much again for tuning in. Have a great day, and I shall speak to you very, very soon. Bye.